Perfect. So good morning, good afternoon, actually, everyone. Again, it's an honor to have you all here with us today for this very important webinar. As we gather today, as you probably know, South Africa faces significant water crisis with challenging challenges actually ranging from aging infrastructure, high levels of non-revenue water, and so on. So this is not just a local issue, but a global issue basically concern a lot of countries. So we're calling for you to join us and to hear more what Israel has to offer to these very disturbing problems. So we're privileged to have with us today Mr. Uri Schor. He's the head of education, campaigns, and information at Israel's Water and Sewage Authority. So thank you, Uri. He will share with us very valuable insights from Israel's journey towards water resilience, and maybe he will share some lessons and strategy that maybe can benefit South Africa. And following this, we'll hear from our leading Israeli companies, Asterra, Curapipe, and Triple Plus, who are driving innovation when it comes to water preservation and leak detection. So I want to thank you for joining us today. And thank you again for the partners to our partners in the Israeli Export Institution, to Rafael, Mug, and Olga for supporting us in planning this event. And obviously to the one and only Steph Vanderbilt, who managed the water sector in our office and worked very hard to make this happen. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's session, and you will find this event insightful and meaningful. So thank you again. And Uri, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you very much. How much time more or less do I have?
You have around 30 minutes.
Okay, I hope I will manage to pass the things I want to do. Um, I'll start by saying that I looked up when I started my job here about more than 20 years ago. I looked up a lot at South Africa, especially at the Cape Town region, because if you look at Cape Town region, it's by the size and by the climate and weather, it's more or less like Israel. Therefore, I try to look up and learn from also from South Africa. I believe we can learn a lot from each other. Our experience is similar and different, and that's exactly the things that I think we can share and learn from each other a lot. If we start, one can see that's a map of the world with the water stressed by countries. The more it's reddish or brownish, I don't know how you see it over there, the more stressed the country is. That's a map from the World Research Institute from about 11 years ago. Therefore, it's quite old, but nevertheless, it shows more or less the same picture. One can see that Israel is around here in the Middle East. It's very extremely high stressed. And also South Africa, one can see, is suffering from more or less the same conditions. If you look at another map from the same institution, one can see how it's predicted to be 15 years from now. Therefore, you can see that our region is even getting worse. By this map, you can see that South Africa is staying more or less the same. But again, the same is not good. One should try to tackle the climate change as quickly as possible because you can't wait for that. Due to climate change, the real global problem, and it's a global problem, it's not only South Africa or Israel, it's less water per capita due to deterioration of infrastructure, lack of awareness, caring, etc., etc. The estimates of the UN is by few years, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, almost 2 billion people could face water scarcity, real scarcity. And 25 years from now, almost half of the world population will be living in countries that are chronically suffering from water shortage. The solution really should be a holistic, a centralized water management and the rise up of awareness, understanding, and motivation for action. I took from the internet different averages of annual rainfall in a few towns in South Africa. One can see that the quantities of years annually of water that is received rainfall is very low, comparison again to other countries that are rich with water. It's more or less like in Israel, but if you look at Israel's southern city, one can see that's Eilat. In Eilat, for instance, you get only 2.3 centimeters annually average, and that's really hardly water. It's in the desert, southern part of Israel, but this is Eilat. One can see you have hotels, trees, swimming pools, fountains, living there. Hopefully, if anyone was in Israel, if any one of you was in Israel, I plead to you to look at it personally, and if you weren't, join us, be there. But so that means that the possibility is here. In Israel, few facts. 60% of Israel is desert. The rest is arid. From 1948, Israel's population has grown by 15 times. It's tremendously a lot. And the more the population grows, the demand for water grows. And due to climate change, Israel is expected to become even drier. If we look at the change of rain in Israel, the trends, due to the climate change, one can see that the last 30 years, we get less and less rainfall in the area. By all the models say that in the coming future, even the next 30 years, it'll become even less rainy. And we get less rain, population is growing, the bigger the problem is. And it's not only rain, it's also temperature. One can see that the average temperature in Israel rose by about 1.4 degrees Celsius. And it's a lot. It's really a lot. And again, all the models that we have shows that it'll even grow higher. And the higher the temperature is, the more evaporation you get, and the less water you receive in the water reservoirs. So in order to prevent the next crisis, we all the time need to manage the water shortage. It's not that you need to manage the water, you need to manage the water shortage. First of all, you have to identify the problem. And then, of course, to exploit the potential of the water. Once you get rain, and even if it's a few days of water, you must catch it. You must build flood perception and reservoirs in order to collect the water and keep it to the days that you haven't got no rainfall in order to have water. You have to reduce the demand. We reduce demands by fixing leakages and water losses. A lot of conservation, education, and campaigns. That's my main work, and on this I'll talk a bit more. A lot of technologies, and even by pricing. And if that's not enough, you must create new water. New water we create here by recycling water. Israel's recycling is number one in the world by recycling water. I'll speak about it a bit later. And we desalinate seawater and brackish water. But I want to start by the base for a change is the acceptance of the public. The public must understand, the public must know. Therefore, you must raise the awareness to that problem that we have, and it's the problem that we have it's a joint problem that we have, and it's not enough really to raise the awareness. Here I have a photograph of one of my trips abroad where I helped out with our problems here with water and our experience. Doesn't matter the country, but it was in the afternoon, you can see it by the quality of the picture. They watered with huge hoses by flooding. And I caught a gardener there that understood more or less a bit English. Of course, for the photograph, I request them to move aside in order they didn't want to speak about the country. But I asked him, what's the situation of water in the country? Do you have rain? Do you have enough rain? Do you have enough water? And I got an answer more or less like big problem, no rain. Therefore, he was aware of the problem, but he continued wasting water as now, as you can see on the photograph, because he didn't know what to do with this problem. Therefore, it's not enough to raise awareness. You must also motivate to action. And you, by motivating to action, that means you have to change the way of the thinking of the people, of everybody. And that's a very, very difficult thing because it's normally you have to motivate to an action that a normal person doesn't want to do. For instance, if you are a farmer and you work all day from morning till evening outside on your farm, the first thing you want to do when you reach home is go into the shower, open the shower, and just relax under the water. What I have to do is create, like in the cartoons, a small devil that the moment you reach your hand to the tap in order to open it, he jumps on your shoulder and says, listen, you haven't got enough water, don't waste water. Shorten the shower. And that's exactly our mission, and it's not an easy mission. We do it with rolling campaigns about water crisis, a lot of education. The campaigns are also divided and targeted for children, different ages, different languages, catching all the religions, different religions we have. We have a lot of work to do about that things as well. We have all kinds of education kits. Here it's mainly in Hebrew, but we have also a bit in English. And of course, teaching units and curricula. Here is a photograph. It's also in Hebrew, but it's photograph that's what the teachers see in their computer in the Ministry of Education. The teacher comes and he sees a few lessons about water, about water equality in the world, about the Israel water sector, about transferring water to houses, um, um, about saving water or not wasting water, and building a product, etc., etc. They have a lot of things. They have a lot of information to the teacher as well in order to her to learn. And it has that's the side of my lesson. Every teacher can take a part and put it in his computer, and whatever he drags it to the left-hand side, exactly that's what he shows in his classroom or her classroom immediately. Everything is with a lot of exploring, research, activities, experiments from different ages on almost everything. And I'm all the time developing more things in order to uh, get the kids to understand, because I understood that if you teach the kids, you reach also the parents. We start, by the way, with education with a very early age, even before kindergarten. But we go with the education, with the explanation, and with campaigns all out in all um, um, different languages. Here are a few photographs that you can see. Here are a bunch of, on the left, on the right upper hand, you have a bunch of teachers that I took here to the desalination plant. You can see different experiments, different ages. We really try to fascinate the kids. They learn more about water. We gain twice. First of all, it's easier to reach out for them to understand problems. And sometimes we get even very good ideas from them. And when they grow up, some of them also continue and come back to work with the water sector. Again, everything is accompanied with different methods of observation, of research studies, of surveys. We all the time check ourselves and double check ourselves and learn from our mistakes. I fell in so many holes, so many hills I tumbled, etc. But until we reached a certain way of doing things, and again, I learn every day again and more. I'm open for that, and I am encouraging all kinds of knowledge that is even from out of Israel to combine it with us. We learn from you, you learn from us. It's a win-win situation to everybody. The biggest mistake that is possible, I say all the time, let's learn from each other. But the biggest mistake is to copy paste. Never say, hey, listen, it worked somewhere in the world, that thing, I copy it and do it in my country. It doesn't work this way. You can, of course, learn. You can get the experience or listen for the experience in order not to fall in those holes that someone already fell in. But it's essential to adapt the activities to what is required in each country. It's different sectors, different languages, different faith, religion, age, climate. You should really learn the things well in order to get the best picture and to do the right things to the right place. I made a lot of surveys and studies, but studies have shown really that different demands that most of you must address and answered with the companions. It's quite essential, and one must really get everything and do everything together in order to manage the things that are possible. I checked many things and I reached a few dilemmas. I have a very large list, but I will show you here two main dilemmas that you must take into consideration before you start with a campaign or with education in order to answer these problems before they rise. You should give the solution to those problems before you even start with the things, with the campaigns or with the education in order not or to prevent these questions to rise. One of them is, of course, what difference can I make? Well, the lack of water, as you know, at South Africa and in Israel is huge, and it's increasing every day. But it's so big that if I, for instance, tell someone to shorten his shower by 2 minutes, and by shortening the shower, he will save 40 liters of water, he will look at himself and say, listen, why bother? I will save 40 liters. But the a lack of water in our country is 5 or 6 billion cubic meters minus. So I'm too small. What difference can I make? And then he won't cooperate. Therefore, you have also different methods to do that as well. The second dilemma is many people say it's the government's job to provide water. Water is a right, and I will use it as I feel like or as I want. That dilemma is also stopping many governments to start doing things, because if I can't provide water to my civilians, then maybe they will think I'm not good. I must be changed. You must answer that questions, and you have different things. I use a lot of social psychology in my work in the education and in my campaigns and explanation and all together. It can be done. It's very delicate, but it can be done. I will just give you you have one country, for instance, that wanted to copy a part of my work. I told them that I pleaded them really that they shouldn't copy paste. I told them with few work, I can work with them, and in 1 or 2 weeks we can define the right way in order to pass those things in that specific country. They didn't listen, and it bounced back very tremendously over there, and they had a very big problem, and we're trying to solve it now, but really try to prevent copy paste. based, learn from each other, help. I'm willing to help as much as you need and can, but really it must be adjusted to the specific problems and the specific needs of the area and the country. The work must be tailor-made. It, of course, must be based on observation, analyzed by surveys, etc. As I said, I implement a lot of social psychology, but it can be done, but it must be really tailor-made. We made a lot of researches, but the bottom line of the research, among others, that water saving is best available is the best way available way to reduce the gap between supply and demand. Of course, it's economical. Of course, it's environmental. But again, here I'm emphasizing that water saving can and should be considered a permanent companion to the water source. That means water. I'm trying to implement water saving and water use as a way of life, not just we have a few row of bad years without rain. We must now do something. When the rain comes, okay, we can release. No, we're in a certain area that is infected quite strongly with climate change and not for the good way. Even if we have one or two very good years, we must continue with our goal and with our way. Saving campaigns combined with tailor-made education and activities and others shown in Israel as a proof. We can show it and prove it without no doubt that you can save between 10 till 20% of the total amount of consumption with the emphasis of non-harming the consumer's welfare. In Israel, the average of saving of water in households is 18%, 18%, and it's very high. When I started with it, people told me that they will be very happy if I will reduce the consumption by 5%. We managed to do it by 18%, and we keep this consumption from about the year 2008 until today, and we are continuing it also onwards. We use education all age with emphasis of younger generation, starting from pre-gardening. We again make education kits and curricula and a suggestion from group activities, etc. It's very efficient. When you start with the very small kids, it affects also the grown-ups. Because, for instance, if let's say I'm visiting one of you at your home, we drink a cup of tea and a piece of cake or something, and we continue talking when one of you is washing the dishes. And you wash the dishes when the tap is running. I'm telling you, listen, it's a waste of water. When you soap the plates, you don't have to put the tap can be closed. You will close it. But if you're used to washing dishes with the tap open, the next day you will wash dishes with the tap open. Not because you're bad, because you're used to a way of life. But if you're one of the little kids will catch and pull your pants and say, daddy, daddy, or mommy, mommy, it's a waste of water. Also, the grown-up will close the tap, and he will close it the day after as well, because he wants to be a role model to the kid. Therefore, I reached the parents very successfully through the kids. And again, twice. I reached the parents very successfully. And the kid, when he will be in our age, he will save water because it's built in, it's in his blood. We made all kinds of collaborations with TV popular shows, with social media, field operations. But again, the thing is, we must have also the government and the municipal involvement. They must be involved and they must join with the line and the way that is thinking and going and doing and what we want in order to reach the right way. Here you can see the consumption per capita annually. One can see that until about 2008, the consumption in Israel per capita was about 105, 108, 205 and 106 cubic meters per capita. Once we started with the education, with the campaigns, we dropped it down to 90, and it stayed until today. We are fighting and all the time continuing, and it's down by 90 cubic meters per capita. Here, for instance, you have a graph of showing that the saving also in agriculture. In Israel, the agriculture gets quotas of water. You can't take as much water as he wants, so he gets quotas. Therefore, they have the drive to try to produce as much growth as possible with the same amount of water. And here you can see all if on the year scale that every year they manage to produce more crops for the same quantity of water. So again, also in agriculture, it is possible. In agriculture, it goes, first of all, by each farmer hears and understands the campaigns and the education, etc., because his kids go to school, and he opens the TV or the radio or the signs on the streets or his mobile. So he gets everything. That starts from there. Then we have also different technologies that can manage requires the growth with less water. So once there is the knowledge, the experience, and the technology, it really can be done, and it should be done. So that's more or less the presentation. But I don't know how much time you want me to, but I can show you also a small movie that I made of about the education campaigns, etc. No, I'll show it. We'll see it. I hope you will hear that. Can you hear it? I can't hear you.
No.
You can't hear it? You can't hear it? So let's leave it. Any
Okay.
questions or something?
I have actually some questions, so I think I will ask, maybe others will follow. But first of all, thank you for really for just see that I'm not, you can't see my video. So again, it was a very wonderful presentation, and someone who was breeded in Israel around these times and was fully aware to the heavy campaign that the ministry, the water authority have done. So basically my question is, most of the solutions that you have presented here today refers to the long run, I would say, process that the government or the responsible authority needs to take. So my question is, whether you have any recommendation for more of a effective and short-term things that South Africa can do now to save more water. That's the first question. Second thing is, we saw that Israel's ranking when it comes to water consumptions are quite good, comparing, I mean, to the other countries and to the I would say to the targets that Israel defined to itself. So is there any other activities that the ministry or the authority is doing as we speak to keep these ranking to stay the same?
As I said, of course, yes, but those things really take time. But we do all the time education, all ages. I lecture a lot, from the younger kids until the grown-ups and universities or professionals. I do it in Hebrew, I do it in English. I try to make it as much as possible. I go a lot and try to teach and give the tips to teachers or to managers of schools in order that they can proceed those methods also further. But we met the climate change very severely at around 2007, 2008, more or less when Cape Town also was in a very severe problem. What we did, because we had a very difficult time, and we did everything together all the time. That means we started with education, with campaigns, with explanation, but we also went of fixing and changing infrastructure, of recycling sewage, also with the desalination. We did everything together. If you have time, you start with education, with campaigns, you teach the people, so you gain a lot of water by managing the water rightly. Because if you ask someone, if you go on the street, doesn't matter in every country, if you go to someone and ask, listen, do you waste water? No one will say yes. No one wastes water on purpose, but they simply do not know how much water they can save if they will use it a bit differently. And that's one thing. So we must take that, and that's quite an immediate way to do it. You can get a lot of water with that. That's also the cheapest way. You don't have to create something. You just simply have to keep the water in the tap. You don't have to desalinate new water. So you start really with education and campaigns and explanation. You must, the second stage, more or less together with the education, is fixing the infrastructure. The leakage that you have is tremendous. When I mean you, it's not, I didn't check up what's the situation in South Africa, but everybody has. In Israel, the leakage average all over Israel is about 8%, 8 or 9%. And we fight it all the time. When we started doing it, we had about 20%. So it's a lot of water. And it's a bit stupid, sorry for my word, but it's a bit stupid to desalinate water, spend a lot of money, etc., desalinate water and put it in an infrastructure that some of it, 20% of it, leaks and doesn't reach the destination. Therefore, you must do that as well. After that, we recommend also recycling water. Israel is recycling, is treating about 94, 95% of all the sewage that we have, and we recycle 86% of the water, mainly for agriculture. And the more you give recycled water to the agriculture, the less potable water they use, and the more potable water you get to the households. Therefore, it should be a combination of all. And if you are in a situation that you don't have enough after you did all that, you start with desalinating water. That's the most expensive thing, but that closes the gap that is missing. South Africa, you have plenty of reach to the sea, Schor, therefore it is also a possibility. I understand if I look from above, I didn't dive in and see all the things in South Africa, but as I understand, the situation in South Africa is such that I think you should do everything together as well. I know that from when I checked, when 2007, 2008, when we started, I know that in South Africa, or at least I checked mainly in Cape Town, but I know that they did a lot of conservation and campaigns. I have different knowledge by now, of course, when I'm a bit more educated and I have the experience about the things. But as I understood, South Africa didn't start with recycling sewage and didn't start with desalination. But if, for instance, you would have started in 2008 with those two things, by today you had plenty of water. It doesn't matter, but you should start somewhere. And again, it's not easy, because if you want to start with recycling or with desalination, as I said, part of the dilemmas, it is not easy for a country to take huge chunk of the public money and put it on desalination or something else, because the public maybe wants that money in other directions. Therefore, when you do the campaigns and the education, you plant the seeds and the understanding that that's necessary. You really help the government by calming down the area, by making them understand that that's necessary. So it is possible. It is possible. It's done. We did it. And again, when I say we did it, again, we all the time are looking for the next problem, for the next lack of water, and it'll come. It'll come. But if we look over our shoulder all the time, we will be ready for that.
You're muted, yes. So I just said it's a joint effort. So thank you so much, Uri, for this wonderful presentation. And here with us is Rafael Moog from the Israel Export Institution.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Nava and Steph, for organizing this webinar. And Uri, exactly as you said, we start from the awareness, but after, as you mentioned, the leakage is the second thing. And we have actually quite a few companies that will show a solution on preventing leakage or treating or dealing with leakage. And I am sure you will find them interesting. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes, Uri, thank you so much. In South Africa, we, as you said, we don't have necessarily the biggest shortage of water, but we lack the skills to really value the water that we have. So thank you for that. To go over to the presentations, I think we're going to kick off with Asterra. Daniel, over to you. Daniel's a good friend of mine. We met last year in Durban at the WESA conference, or this year. Daniel, over to you.
Thank you very much. It's possible for me to share screen?
Yes.
How much time do I have to speak?
Give or take 10 minutes.
All right. Please. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for this opportunity. Also, by the way, I just want to say to Ori that his presentation was very interesting and educational. So just thank you for that. So here at Asterra, what we're working on is we are an Earth observation company. What we're able to do is to take synthetic aperture radar technology and to turn it into
1 second, Daniel. Sorry for interrupting. Your presentation is in speaker mode and not in presentation mode. So basically, we see your comments.
Apologies for that. Do you know? Sorry for this.
I think it's if you go down, there is an icon of, yeah, I think it's this. The next one? No.
I don't think so. 1 second. Apologies. Maybe now. Okay, 1 moment. Okay. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. So as I said, what we're using is synthetic aperture radar technology in order to detect leakage subsurface. We're doing that basically on using the SAR, which is the synthetic aperture radar technology, which takes an image of a certain area of interest. And the image, although in the raw phase of it, doesn't provide much information, but the data that it contains with our algorithm, then we can provide our end product, which is a map that guides leak detection people on site to where it's possible to find with a high probability where the subsurface leakage is being situated. So a little bit about the synthetic aperture radar. We used L-band for underground penetration. We can work in all weather conditions and 24/7, day and night. And we can go through forest, pavements, ground, and we can also be able to differentiate different types of water to understand that the water that we're looking for is fresh water, right? Because what we help the water utilities in the end of the day is to improve their infrastructure and to lower their NRW. And what we see is not broken pipes, as many may think, but what we see is actual moisture, the mixture between water and, let's say, earth. And that mixture is the footprint of what we catch with the satellite, and then we analyze it and provide you with the data. Now, how does it look on the process itself? So on the left side of the screen, what you're able to see is a raw SAR image, just a black and white image that not much that you can recognize in. In the middle is an example of all of the data that is being contained in that image. And on the right side of the screen is the outcome, the end product, which is a map that, as I said before, guides the leak detection people on site, which contains, it's like, let's say, a navigation system for leak detection. You have highlighted pipelines, which are the yellow markings, as you can see on the map. And you can actually go into your GPS system, put in the address, and go to the area where it's high probability to find the leakage. Because before that, it's very hard to understand where the leakage is, and if it's even in a certain area is even there. So it's mainly reactive approach on when it already has a burst of water or something like of that sort of thing, unless you use some data to provide you with the information of where you need to go. On the right side of the screen, you will be able to see an example of how the satellite is crossing the globe and scanning all of the globe itself. We can revisit exactly the same point every 14 days, and we have image size of about 3,500 square kilometers, which able to give us a big area that we can investigate and provide you with the information on various locations on, let's say, your area of interest. The whole point of using Asterra is to downsize the area that you would like to investigate. And to give you as an example, there could be a water utility that has the ownership of a network in the size of 5,000 kilometers of pipeline. It is very hard to find all the leakage during the year with the 5,000 kilometers pipeline, because from the moment you start until you finish, there's always more leakages that starts before you will be able to fix them. So what we're trying to do is to find more leaks before then they reappear. Now, to dive down about how we do, what is the process of using Asterra? You define an AOI, an area of interest. For example, in front of you, there is a Bucharest in the red markings, and the blue markings, the square is the size of the SAR image. After we take the image, the black and white image over there, we're able to analyze it and to add the pipeline GIS onto our system, and to provide you in the end the map that has the probability in each of those yellow sections of where you can find those leaks. Now, why ongoing monitoring is important? It takes time for leaks to reoccur, but it happens all the time. Every vibration, every flood, every rain, every change in the climate or the environment can cause more leakages. So it's always important to take care of our system in order to prevent the NRW to be increasing. And it's very important while you do the ongoing monitoring to be able to lower it. Now, the more images that we take of a certain area, we can find more potential points where there's the leakage that we can find. And we're talking about the small to medium-sized leaks, not on the big ones that every person can go on the street and see that there is an obvious leak over there. Asterra is specifically used to detect those small to medium-sized leaks that happen beneath our feet, that we cannot hear them or see them, and those silent ones cost us a lot of money and a lot of water. As I said before, the whole idea of when we're using Asterra is to find more leaks that there are already in the system, then they reappear. The reactive approach, as it says here, is just not enough. For give you an example, if we have a network of 500 kilometers and we travel about 2.5 kilometers a day, it will take us about a month to be able to find all of the leaks. Then, in comparison to if we would walk every kilometer of the system, that would take us 6 months. So we save a lot of time, and we will be able to go through the whole system several times a year rather than just once or twice. The another layer of data that we have is master plan, which is able to be an added layer to the utilities set of data for decision making when we're talking about pipe replacement. The master plan will be able to provide the utility the idea of where it's better to replace the pipeline. Because sometimes we have a higher NRW. Some of the areas, maybe a utility has the budget to replace 1% or 5% of its pipeline. It's very expensive. It also depends on the country, but it's very expensive in each country. And to have another set of information to help you replace that those pipelines will be able to have a healthier system down the line. All of the metrics that you see and all of the data that you receive and what the leakage teams are on site looking for eventually goes to our platform, the dashboard that the management can use in order to analyze and to see how much leaks were found, how much money they saved, and how many water was saved during the process of the leak detection. And that is called EO Discover, which contains all of that data. And just a few case studies, and to finish with those, we have an example of our customer Sewage in the UK, which wanted to reduce by 15% their water leakage between 2019 until 2024, 25, and starting to use Asterra, they saw a remarkable 700% increase in the leaks were found per crew day. In the end of all of those numbers that there's here on the screen, the significant one would be that in total, they saved approximately 2 million liters per day. Another example that we have with a project that we have in Gaia for a 3-year subscription. After starting using Asterra and in the end of the subscription, we were able to help to save in 3 years about 24 million euros. Not to only discuss about how much money was that, but also the amount of water and energy that was saved by improving the network for then and in the future. in a nutshell, so Asterra, we're working in 64 countries with over 600 customers and 118,000 leaks that were verified so far. And we will continue to help and to improve because every drop matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I appreciate it. If anyone has a question, please drop it in the Q&A. I see in the Q&A we do have a question about aquifers. The question goes, does the scanning ability extend to underground water sources, for instance, identifying underwater bodies for drilling boreholes and so forth?
So if the question is if Asterra can help you to find water in order to understand if you can use that water for drinking. So this is not the main use of Asterra, but rather to find water leaks. Also, there is the limitation of how deep that the SAR can penetrate. It cannot penetrate, let's say, to 15 or 20 meters down. Optimally, we would talk about 2 or 3 meters, depends if it's an urban area or let's say in a desert, it could be much farther, but usually we're talking about urban areas and that would be up to 2 meters, let's say.
Okay, no, fantastic. Any other questions? No, perfect, Daniel, thank you so much. I think we're going to move on so long to Curapipe. Mr. Govender, over to you. I think you're muted. There we go.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you. Daniel and Uri, thank you for your presentations. Very informative. As Steph alluded to, I'm representing AccuCure, which is a licensee to Curapipe. So we have a license to operate in South Africa. So can I share my screen?
Yes, certainly.
So advise if you can see it.
We can see the Zoom link.
Are you able to see now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as I mentioned, I'm representing AccuCure. We're a company based in South Africa, and we're the licensee to the Curapipe technology, obviously operating in South Africa. So we just want to have a look at the global municipality water loss challenge. We find the biggest issue is failing infrastructure, resulting in high levels of water losses, costing utilities billions annually. We know that the water infrastructure is under pressure, and it is commonly prone to failure due to the following 3 main reasons. Infrastructure designed for old, lower water demands, poor maintenance, and lack of investment. As a result, global water networks suffer significantly high levels of water loss. Globally, 35% of all water treatment is lost due to leaks. In developing countries, up to 50 to 60% are lost, or of water supply is lost to leakage. The conservative estimate for the total cost to utilities is around 200 billion rand annually. The background leakage challenge is where we want to come in. And we want to propose a bulk leakage repair solution that will provide some opportunity to cost effectively repair background leakage, which contributes to about 70% of total leakage. So the issues with leakage, and as Daniel alluded to, the 10% is allocated to the typical high flows, short run times notified to the water utilities by the client. So those are your sort of reported bursts. 20% is the typical moderate flow rates, long run time located by active leakage control. And those are normally the unreported leaks and breaks. But the majority of the leaks is the background leakage. This is where you have the leakage of joints, fittings, and service connections, and these run continuously and often undetected. Okay. The bulk leak repair solution will target background leakage. This type of leakage has been expensive to treat using traditional repair mechanisms, and the bulk leakage repair systems provide an opportunity to repair background leaks cost effectively with a bigger impact. So AccuCure, as I mentioned, is a water business providing a new and innovative differentiated bulk repair service for South African municipalities. And I've already mentioned we are a licensee of the Curapipe technology. We make use of a technology called TELA, which is meaning trenchless automated leak repair, which is designed to provide an internal pipe leakage repair solution for multiple leaks in a water distribution network. TELA is best applicable for pipelines with heavy leakage from multiple leak sources within treatable pipe sections that are not required to be replaced due to the end-of-life situation. The TELA is applicable to a wide range of pipe materials. It is a standalone system that self-detects water leaks in a pipe and automatically repairs them. An isolated pipe section of mains and the service pipes is required, and actual levels of leakage are measured before, so prior to treatment, and obviously after treatment. Okay. I think the key performance features with the technology, it seals a variety of leak types, both on water mains and connected service pipelines. It meets stringent health requirements for products that come into contact with drinkable water. So we do have in South Africa the SABS approval to use the product. There is a rapid deployment at a lower cost and a guarantee of 75% reduction of overall leakage. The system and the technology also provides a long-term cure for any leaks detected within the pipeline. So basically, this is a picture describing how the system works. The picture on the right is basically illustrating a big train that we would, if the treatable section is fitted with fire hydrants, we would introduce the pig material through one hydrant and run the material through the pipeline, and then you eject it out of the next available fire hydrant. So no need for any physical excavations for the treatment section. So a quick rundown, the big train is launched into an isolated section of pipe via an upstream fire hydrant or air valve or hot tap. The epoxy curing substance automatically seals and permanently cures any leaks within the pipeline. The big train then exits the downstream fire hydrant, air valve, or hot tap. We then dispose of the chemical inactive big train. We then flush the line that was treated. We test water turbidity, and then we reinstate the service back to the municipality. Again, just to mention, we have global accreditations across multiple countries, South Africa being one of them. A few of our case studies internationally. So there has been pilots done in Italy, Mexico, and again in Italy, 2 sections, basically a 4-inch pipe. And you see it's various material types that was treated. And the last row is what is important, where we see the results of the leakage reduction. In Italy, both of the treatment sections obtained 100% leakage reduction, and in Mexico, a 95% leakage reduction. Coming back to home, within South Africa, we've run a number of pilots. This is not all of them. We've just highlighted a few. So in eMalahleni, we did a total treatment of 1,582 meters. Annual kiloliter saving of water was 75,713 kiloliters, and the total leakage reduction was 100% within the treated lines. At the Alfred Dumo municipality, we treated a small section of 334 meters that resulted in an annual kiloliter saving of 48,180, again, 100% leakage reduction. Within the Mangaung municipality, we treated 810 meters of piping with a saving of 9,290 kiloliters per annum. And again, leakage reduction of 100% within the treated section. Within Buffalo City municipality, a total treatment of 876 meters with a total water saving of 25,404 kiloliters. Again, 100% leakage reduction. This is the main technical data for the current technology. So the treatable mains, I'll work on a metric system. It's between 50 to 200 millimeter. The treatable service pipes are between a 10 and a 50 millimeter. The maximum treated length, we try to target anything between a 100 to 400 meter. And as you can see, the pipe material, we can work with duct iron, with HDP, PVC, so you can use it over a multiple range of pipe material. Tubiculation up to 50% of internal diameter. Our operating pressure is between 1 to 8.5 bar. And the individual leak level is between 10 to 3,000 liters within the treated section. The types of leaks that the technology will work on is on pinholes, joints, leaks on flanges, split bells, longitudinal and circumference leaks. And the leak cure type is surgical epoxy-based, non-coating, meaning that your diameter of your pipes are not affected, sorry. I just got a short video to play. There is no volume, so you guys can just have a look.
No, it's not playing on our side.
You get it now?
Not yet.
You see it now, Steph?
No, not yet. We still see the TALR video clip screen, but nothing is playing.
Okay, just want to share it again. I've reloaded. Can you see it now, Steph?
Nothing yet. Otherwise, we can share it with our attendees after the webinar.
Okay.
No, great stuff. Thank you very much. It's always amazing to see such innovative technologies implemented across the vast fields of South Africa. So thank you for sharing that. And I think that last slide of yours really defined your product and capability. So thank you for sharing that. Last but not least, we're going to move on to our final speaker, Dubi, that is you. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me share the screen. So do you see it in presentation mode?
Not yet.
You see my screen or something? What do you see?
We can see the screen with your presentation, just not in presentation mode.
Okay. So I need to change something here.
Yes,
Sorry
I think at the top we have autosave, on save, undo, reload, and next to that is the presentation mode.
Just F5 on your keyboard.
F5. Let's see. Yeah, work?
No.
Not-
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so my name is Dubi Blitt. I'm managing sales for a company called Wassins. It's an Israeli company, and we'll see some more things about it. My details will also show up on the last slide. So thank you for this opportunity to present. I wanted to ask if we can get the presentation that Shachar did. There's a few details that I would like to use, so that would be nice. Okay, so what we've seen until now in the presentation is in the infrastructure, and we are dealing with the end consumer, which we'll soon see in the solution. But the need is to reduce water costs, to protect property. It's the end user property and sustainability. These are the motivations that people have to use the solution that we have. What we do is real-time stream monitoring and remote shut-off. So if there's irregularities, we can close the water automatically. We also have flood centers to cover different scenarios. And it's very flexible and easy to use because each person uses his water differently, and you must be able to ensure that it doesn't have false positives, or on the other hand, that you will have a leak that it won't detect. So it really needs to fit your profile, especially if you want it to be in automatic mode. It's connected to the cloud, so you need to have different communication abilities like Wi-Fi, Ethernet, or SIM. And you also need to have application control and also a centralized management system that you can do from your computer. So there's a short video here. Hopefully it will work. Can you hear?
We can't hear, but we can see the visual.
Sorry, you said you cannot hear it?
No, we cannot.
So maybe I will talk while it's going on. And
Perfect.
Okay, because there's a bit of marketing here, so there's nothing to translate. But there's... That's the app control. This is the actuator that can close and open. This is the communication. Okay, so sorry for the video, but there were subtitles, so I hope you got some understanding. Any questions until now? I don't want to lose you guys. So please feel free, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
That's very interesting. Just a quick question from my end.
Sure.
So with the actuator, does it autonomously shut down when there's a leak detected?
So it's according to the settings that you give it. You can tell it. You can either tell it to alert or to shut down, and there are different scenarios of low stream, high stream, and different irregularities that you give it. You can say on the weekend shut it off, or if it's business hours, just alert. So because otherwise it's difficult to be in an office building without water, right? Or in the middle of the shampoo, the water shuts off. I won't get into all the details here. It gets a bit technical, but this is the hardware that enables the solution. Let's talk a little bit about the company. We're 10 years in the market, and our major customers are insurance, construction, and facility management companies. We're based out of Israel, but we also have distributors in Canada and the US. We also have some activity starting in South Africa with a company called MEB. And we have some large global customers, and of course, a lot of other customers in Israel. We work with all the insurance companies that whenever you have damage, they sometimes they force you to put it, or if it's a high value estate or something like that, they require this kind of solution. And it fits from a private residence to residential complexes, office buildings, and also public buildings, and also industrial usage, because we can give a solution to any diameter. And if we look at the architecture, what's important to see from this slide, I don't want to get too technical here, but it's very flexible. It's an infrastructure that enables to have many kinds of protection scenarios. And also it's very important for some of the customers to have an API, so it can connect to other softwares or building management systems. And you can also get many reports and the use of data, which is getting more and more important in the ability to analyze your usage, to do predictions and things like that. We'll see a short slide about this. This is how the application looks like. If it's all green, it means everything's okay. If it's red, it detected a leak. And if it's orange, it tells you you either need to replace a battery, or there's a problem of communication. And what's good about this is that there's no such thing as a situation where you think you're protected, but you're not protected, because the system will tell you ahead of time if there's a problem. But also, even if there is electricity shut off or communication shut off, the system will still work because it's backed up by battery. And the logic is also local. It's not only in the cloud, meaning that even if you do not see the system will still protect you, which is very important. This is how you can control if you have many assets or buildings. So you can see here, this is one center, this is the Empire State, and this is the Plaza. And you can see the situation in each property. You can do a drill down into each property to the floors. And if you find a problem in floor number 4 or something like that, you can see it in the centralized system and dispatch somebody to fix it. So this is highly valuable for companies that have a lot of real estate. This is very powerful for them. You can also get reports on usage, how much did I use this month compared to last month, or this year compared to last year. You can see irregularities. You can also do sub-metering if you're renting out places, which is also highly valuable for these companies. And time for questions. I wanted to keep it short. Usually it takes about an hour, so I tried to cut it short. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Any
Sure.
questions from the audience? Please, if you have any questions, please post it. In terms of, if I can have a quick question, in terms
Sure.
of a ROI, what are we looking at here? Because we know with non-revenue water leak detection, the return on investment is usually quite quick.
So it's kind of difficult to give you a good answer because of a few reasons. It's like insurance. What's the return on investment on insurance? You don't know
Depends on
until
what you're insuring. Yeah.
yes, or until you get hit, because you can do insurance, never get hit. What's the return on investment? Not good. So usually we have customers already had a leak event which caused them a lot of damage, or they will have one. So having this is, how much is peace of mind worth, or how much, putting a lock on your door is valuable. So this is like It's to protect your property. That being said, you know, one incident will cover the cost, but also we save on water leakage. So if he said like 8%, once you have the solution, you don't have leakage, because even a small faucet, like you know, a toilet, can accumulate to a lot of money during the whole year. We eliminate that. You will not have it, because you will get a warning saying that you had the water running nonstop the whole night when nobody was there. So you go and you check. So I won't say zero leakage, but it will be close to zero. It will not be 8%. So most of our customers, you know, like commercial customers, where they have data and they follow, we have a large medical insurance company, and you know, in Israel it's very big, and they put like in 40 clinics around the country, and he said he has 0 water incidents from them, which is really important. And he has 0 false positives, so you know, it doesn't just shut off in the middle of the day or stuff like that. And they're going to put it in all their properties. Okay, so clinics. So to tell you if the return on investment is 1 year or 2 years, I cannot really tell you. To say that your property is protected, yes. To say that eventually, but even if you don't have an incident, the amount of money you save on leakage will eventually return the cost. So eventually it will. It's hard to tell how long it will take.
Is basically as soon as there's an incident, you're saving whatever would have been spent to fix that. To take it further, I see.
Yeah, just one more thing I wanted to say. That once you put the system in, you prevented leakage and you prevented events. So you can compare the year before and the year after, but between year 2 and 3, you're already protected. You see what I mean?
No, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. I see Leroy also asked in the Q&A box if you could explain just a bit more on your sub-metering.
Okay. So I kind of try to run fast, so I usually have a slide where it shows the typical installation architecture. So if you have an office building, you would have 1 unit on each floor. Okay, and you can say how much floor 10, how much water was used in floor 10. So if you have subtenants, you would put a system. You would put a system on his property, and you know how much water was consumed each day, okay, or each hour, but on a monthly basis. And so it's not for billing to the water company, because that you need different kind. We don't want to compete with them, okay? It's very accurate. We don't want to compete with companies that have a water billing solution. But if you have a tenant and you want to charge him for the water he uses, this is good enough. And it's high value for property owners.
Oh, great, thank you for that.
Sure.
If there's no further questions, then I'll hand back over to Nava to conclude this event.
Yes, so we're concluding almost 90 minutes of really great webinar. I'm confident that our guests learned a lot about not only about the innovative technologies that are coming from Israel, but also about what can be done from our side as a people, you know, to save more water and to address those really disturbing problems that South Africa is facing at the moment. So again, I want to thank all of you, to Uri, to Dubi, to Danielle and Eugene for taking your time and sharing with us your insights and your solutions. Obviously to Rafael and to Olga from the Israel Export Institution, and last but not least, Steph for coordinating this whole event. We'll be sending the recording of this webinar to all of you with the presentations of the companies. So please, after the webinar, Dubi, Daniel, and Eugene, please send us the presentation so we can share it with our guests. Thank you again so much. And we'll be meeting again for our future events next year. So stay tuned and have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. All